Tonight marks the last start for Sean Manaea at home this season. The rookie left-hander has been outstanding in 2016. His 125-plus innings and 109 strikeouts have been a big surprise for the A's. Because of early season injuries to the starting staff, Manaea got his major league call earlier than expected, and it looks like he will be a mainstay in the rotation for years to come. Tonight, Manaea and the A's look to slow down the Houston Astros in their push toward the top of a crowded American League wildcard race. It's Game 2, A's-Astros, next. Tuesday night baseball from the Coliseum. Game 2 of the series. Astros won last night 4-2, and tonight the big left-hander Sean Manaea looks for his 7th win of the year. It's the Astros and the Athletics coming up on CSN California. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Oakland A's Baseball. Along with Mark Mulder, I'm Glenn Kuiper. 22nd start of the year for Sean Manaea, and the 4th time that he is facing the Astros this year. And boy, he's really come a long way, Mark, and the future is certainly bright for Sean Manaea.
He really has, and just his 2nd start since his short DL stint. He's pitched well against the Astros this year. He's done a good job. We just need the A's to score some runs, and I think in tonight's game, his secondary pitches are going to be huge. This is a very aggressive team. They're free swingers, so that slider and that changeup early in the count is going to be big.
And you know what else would be big? Get Evan Gattis out. Yeah. Career high 28 home runs. Hit one last night, and man, he's so scary up there. You feel like he's going to hit a home run every time.
He has that look, that spread out stance. He's short to the baseball, but if the A's pitchers and Manaea can keep the ball out of the middle of the plate, that's where the mistakes are made, and that's where a lot of Gattis's home runs come from, is when you make those mistakes. So if you can keep him in off the plate, I like the fastball in on Gattis, and then Manaea can go to that changeup and the slider if he needs to.
All right, so the Astros will send a rookie right-hander to the mound. His name is Joe Musgrove. In fact, he beat the A's in Houston on the 29th of August. So A's-Astros coming up from the Coliseum. We'll have lineups and first pitch as we get set for Game 2 of this 3-game series, so stick around.
Baseball on CSN California is brought to you by Jack in the Box. Taste the all-new Jack's Brewhouse Bacon Burger today at Jack in the Box. Limited time only at participating restaurants. By Toyota, the full-line automaker with the longest-lasting vehicles in America. Toyota, let's go places. And by America's Tire. Your low-price journey starts here.
Stephen Voda and the Athletics are set to go for Game 2 of this 3-game series tonight between the A's and the Houston Astros. Game time weather presented by the Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk. Get to the beach. The admission-free boardwalk is open this weekend. Much cooler night tonight, kind of back to normal, 64 degrees and a nice little breeze. So it was hot last night, but pretty nice tonight. It is Portuguese Heritage Night. See the scarf giveaway? So those fans are going to bundle up a little bit as the game goes on and enjoy tonight's ball game. Here's the lineup for the Houston Astros. Starts with George Springer. He's in right. Yuli Gurriel is the third baseman, and Altuve at second. Correa at short. Gaddis the catcher. Gonzalez big hit last night. He's at first. Tyler White will DH, and then Hernandez and Marisnik round out the Houston Astros starting lineup.
And Sean Manaea, the big left-hander, making his 22nd start of the season. 4th time actually starting against the Astros, so he knows these guys. He's familiar. Fastball, slider, and a changeup.
Defensively for the Athletics, it'll be Jake Smolinski in left, Brett Eibner in center, Danny Valencia in right, Healy, Simeon, Wendell, Alonso around the infield third to first, and Stephen Vogt is your catcher. Just a heads up, Chris Davis is not in the lineup. He's sick. A little stomach flu is what we heard.
A little under the weather.
So no Chris Davis tonight for the Athletics. So we're set for baseball. Big Sean Manaea kicks and deals, and it's a swinging strike on the first pitch of the ball game. Springer, Gurriel, and Altuve here in the first inning. Astros won last night by a final score of 4-2. They scored late and grabbed the victory. Umpires tonight. That's Marty Foster calling balls and strikes. Clint Fagan at first, Mike Malinsky at second, and that is Mike Winters, the crew chief. He's down at third. Tell you right now that the Astros are 3 games behind the second wild card team, the Blue Jays. So as we said last night, no different tonight. Astros in a must-win situation. They are tied with the Mariners, who are 3 back. So that is the wild card, and none of the games are finished yet. Baltimore, Toronto, Detroit, Houston, and Seattle. So all those teams are in action. Tigers 2.5 back, Astros, Mariners 3 back, Yankees 4.5 back. Springer shoots one foul.
And that's the thing with that wild card. It's not always how many games you're back. It's how many teams are in front of you also.
No question.
You know, for you to win and have both those teams lose to try to gain ground is what makes it so tough.
Yeah, the only way you gain ground is if everybody in front of you loses, and the chance of that happening is just very slim. 2-2 pitch. Hit foul by Springer. Sean Manaea made his major league debut against these Astros on the 29th of April. And a no decision in the game the A's won. As Mark said, 3 total starts versus the Astros this year. And it looked like a 2-2 changeup, and Springer chased it, and out number 1 of the ball game is a strikeout.
Well, this is going to be a big pitch for Manaea tonight. A very aggressive Houston Astro team and lineup.
Second position.
That's a good changeup down and away on the same plane as a lot of the fastballs he threw down and away that Springer was able to foul off. This changeup out in front. Good pitch.
Expo brought to you by Cache Creek Casino Resort. Here's Yuli Gurriel. So 0-1, good ERA against the Astros in those 3 starts this year. Gurriel pops it up. It'll be Marcus Simeon who waits. He's got it. So 2 outs here in the first inning. And that'll bring up Jose Altuve.
Batting in the third position, second baseman, number 27, Jose Altuve.
So Altuve steps in with a .337 batting average. 24 homers, 94 RBIs. Maybe the American League MVP. Sitting on 199 hits, 1 more than Mookie Betts. So he's got a chance to get to 200 hits tonight. He had 1 last night, but it was a big one. 2-0 the count. Best batting average on the road since 1990. Jose Altuve this year hitting .376.
That's kind of amazing considering the park that he plays in, as good of a hitter's park as that one is. But I guess, you know, he also hits a lot of flares. You know, he stays back. He's a good 2-strike hitter, and he dumps a lot of balls just like last night into the outfield in front of the outfielders.
But you look at the guys: Ichiro, Gwynn, Bonds, Piazza, Olerud, Piazza again. So best road average in the majors this year. Pitch is rolled foul. To stretch out Altuve's numbers a little bit, he's got 40 doubles. He's got 5 triples and 24 home runs. He's got 27 steals. He has scored 101 runs. So he's had some good seasons, but this is his best. Down and in, so 3-2 the count. Got to play him straight up. Another roller foul. He sprays the ball all over the place.
Yeah, he's not afraid to hit with 2 strikes. You can have him 0-2 or 3-2. It doesn't really make a difference. He's the same type of hitter. He just tries to put the ball in play. He doesn't really he doesn't strike out much.
That one is driven to center. Eibner hustling back. He's going to get there, and Sean Manaea has a 3-up, 3-down, top of the first inning. Tonight. It starts with Joey Wendell. Then Simeon, Vogt, Valencia, Healy, Alonso, Eibner, Nunez, and Smolinski.
Joe Musgrove making his 9th start for the Astros this season. Very good command. 4-pitch pitcher, although you're just pretty much going to see fastballs and sliders for the most part. Kind of think Peacock last night, but with a little better fastball. And he got the win over the A's about 3 weeks ago.
So defensively, it'll be Hernandez, Marisnik, and Springer in the outfield. Gurriel, Correa, Altuve, and Gonzalez on the infield, and Evan Gattis is catching tonight. So he was the DH last night. So Musgrove, first pitch to Joey Wendell, is in there with a fastball. Joey Wendell was 0 for 3 with a walk last night, hitting .305, homer, 9 RBIs. That start by Musgrove against the A's back on the 29th of August. Astros won the game 6-0 in that game down in Houston. Hit towards center. Marisnik back, now waits, and he's got it. It was all said and done. It was 5 1/3 shutout innings for Musgrove against the Athletics.
And from Musgrove, what we saw in that game was a lot of fastballs, a lot of sliders. Like I said, he has a little cut on that fastball, and every now and then he'll sink it also, which makes it a little tougher because you don't know which way it's going to go from the starting pitcher. And in that start, the A's hitters, he had them completely off balance for that 5 1/3.
Here's Marcus Simeon, takes a little bit low. So 3 walks, 7 strikeouts in that ball game. And 94 pitches for Joe Musgrove. He's a big fella, 6'5", 265 pounds. Sharp slider, 2-1. Simeon was 0 for 3 last night. The A's only had 3 hits, 2 runs on 3 hits. They had a double and 2 home runs, so they did not have a single in the game.
But you got to give the Houston pitchers credit last night. They made a lot of good pitches. Here's a changeup from Musgrove. Like I said, you're basically going to see fastball, slider, but he has a changeup, he has a curveball. But if he can mix in just enough changeups right there, keep the A's hitters guessing. Doesn't have to be one of your better pitches, but if you can throw it for strikes early in the count or behind in the count.
Tap toward third. Gurriel throws across. Simeon is out. So 2 away here in the bottom of the first. And Stephen Vogt will step to the plate.
Batting in the 3rd position and catching.
Gang out right field.
Stephen Vogt.
As always, big Stephen Vogt fans. Stephen Vogt at 256 with 12 home runs, 48 RBIs. Good curveball from Musgrove. Hitless night last night for Vogt, 0 for 4. Behind quickly, 0-2. So we've seen the good overhand curve from Musgrove.
Well, and like I said, he'll change speeds, but He's kind of showed the A's every pitch he has right here in the first inning, which is sometimes a little unusual. And as I said, he's a 4-pitch guy. There's the curveball and changeup, which he doesn't throw much, but you throw it for strike one like he did against Vogt. Everything has a little spin to it besides that changeup. His fastball cuts a little, makes it harder to differentiate for the hitters.
So I said curve. Maybe that's just a slider with a little bigger break. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's like a curveball.
It's only about 4 or 5 miles an hour difference, but that first pitch was a curveball, and then he followed it up with a slider, which was only, it was 78 to 82. But they do look very similar. It's just the velocities, just a few miles an hour difference. He and Gaddis, that's the second pitch in a row now where they can't seem to get on the same page. Gaddis has put down every sign he can come up with.
I think that's all I got. Fastball in, it jammed Vogt. And the side is retired. So both starting pitchers have 3 up, 3 down, first inning, scoreless after 1. Here's our Quicken Loans Rocket Hours. Both strikeouts in a season by Oakland rookie pitcher Sean Manaea is on that list, just ahead of Gio Gonzalez. But Brett Anderson had 150 strikeouts in 2009. Tim Hudson on there. Joe Blanton on there. Greg Smith. He was here for a very short time. First pitch to Carlos Correa is a strike. In the American League, Sean Manaea, second in strikeouts and second in innings pitched. Michael Fulmer, the right-hander from the Tigers, who's been very good for them, leads in many of the rookie pitching categories in the AL.
Yeah. And I was going to say on that list, I think that year in '99, Huddy didn't get called up until maybe the end of May or early June.
1-2 the count to Carlos Correa. Gaddis to follow, and then Marwin Gonzalez here in the second inning. Swing and a miss. He struck him out, keeping it away from Carlos Correa. Off-speed pitch.
Well, as I said earlier, this is the Second strikeout and the second changeup. And when you're locating them down and away, and the way Manaea's throwing his fastball inside to some of these righties and that slider under their hands, it opens up that outer half, and you can see Correa just a weak swing, completely fooled, looking for something in, cheating in, and just tries to throw the bat at it, trying to foul it off. To no luck, though.
Well, here's Gaddis. Home run last night for Gaddis. He also walked. This one is just foul as Healy backhands it.
And last night, Cotton made one mistake, and this was it. A fastball. He tried going down and away, came back over the middle, and Gaddis takes advantage of those. He as strong as he is, he doesn't need to get all of it.
.28 homers, 64 RBIs for Gaddis.
Manaea elevating that pitch before. Wouldn't be surprised to see him go back to the changeup, down and away.
And last year, Gaddis had 27 homers and 88 RBIs and a .246 average. Second season with the Astros. And he got him swinging. Another changeup. See 85, 86 miles an hour. That's a pretty good chance it's the changeup.
Yeah, he doubled up. He bounced the one before, didn't like it, so he and Stephen Vogt went right back to it.
Number 9.
I like that. When you throw a bad one, you're not happy with it, throw it again. Doesn't mean he's going to be all over it. You can see Gaddis way out in front.
So here's Marwin Gonzalez, who is a switch hitter. Pretty straight up numbers for Gonzalez. .253 as a right-handed hitter, .249 as a left-handed hitter. And the big hit last night, Gonzalez. .2-0 pitch, just a little bit low, close. And on deck is Tyler White. Not close, so it's a 4-pitch walk.
Well, Gonzalez last night off Madsen, the hit back up the middle to drive in the 2 runs. You can see Correa crossing home plate, awfully excited. Gonzalez just right back up the middle, trying to put the ball in play with bases loaded.
So that'll bring up Tyler White. Speaking of big hits, he had one last night. White had a double in the 8th inning. He doubled into the left field corner. That tied the game. The Astros scored 1 in the 8th to tie it, then 2 in the 9th to take the lead, and that was good enough for the win. Open stance for Tyler White. 7 homers, 26 RBIs.
I always thought for Tyler White, when you see a guy with a stance like that, sometimes there's those inconsistencies. He's got a leg kick, and then when it comes back down, sometimes it doesn't always come back down that front foot in the same spot. I think lots of times you can get inside on him. Earlier in this season, he had some success, and the league started making an adjustment, staying away from him. Everything he was hitting, he was pulling. They started staying away from him, and all of a sudden he started struggling.
just a little bit outside. So Marty Foster can glance to his right, let everybody know he thought it was outside.
And not a bad pitch, just off the corner. And you can see just from White's reaction right there, he's looking to pull something. Front side's flying open.
That one is a strike on the outside corner.
That's another changeup. I actually thought that was a slider at first. Changeup away. We've seen a lot of good changeups here in the first 2 innings from Manaea. See if he goes right back to it, tries to get this one down a little more.
Gonzalez has a big lead at first. Defense pretty straight away for Tyler White. Manaea lobs one over there. Seen teams do that against Sean Manaea, where they'll take a big lead. Poke foul, so White putting together a good battle here against Sean Manaea.
Well, I never liked throwing over with 2 outs and 2 strikes.
No,
it always annoyed me. And as I got a little older, I got over it. But when I was younger, it gets to me a little, because I always just thought, listen, I got 2 strikes. Let me just focus on getting this guy out, and it doesn't matter. But nothing matters. The guy in first doesn't matter at all.
Another foul ball.
I just didn't want my focus going away from trying to make that pitch with 2 strikes, 2 outs. You make a pitch and you strike him out or you get him out, then it doesn't make a difference what else is going on.
So another 2-2 pitch coming up. Gonzalez dances off. Makes another step. And that forces, I think, Manaea to just hold it.
And that's what you should do. Just make him come to a stop. If Gonzalez wants to try to get himself a little walking lead and go, that's fine. But he can do that all he wants. But just make him come to a stop.
And he got him swinging. So that is 4 strikeouts for Sean Manaea in the first 2 innings. No scores. We go to the bottom of the second. Baseball on CSN California, brought to you by AAA. Get a free A's Stadium blanket with any new AAA membership. Visit a participating AAA branch today. Restrictions apply. Bottom of the second, no score. And just one base runner so far in the game as Joe Musgrove faces Danny Valencia here in the bottom of the second. First pitch in for a strike. Valencia 1 for 3 with a double and a walk last night. Just joining us, Chris Davis, a little under the weather tonight, so he is not in the A's lineup. Valencia hitting in the cleanup spot. Big breaking ball, stays away.
When I think that slider away, that's what Valencia will struggle with, or has struggled with. If you can lay off that and try to make him come into the zone with it, get yourself a hanger.
There it was. Not a hanger though, and Valencia waved at it.
Now this is a good one. Musgrove able to keep this one down. You can see the
Batting in the
sharp
5th position,
late break
third
to
baseman,
it.
for 48,
Valencia
Ryan
obviously frustrated.
Healy.
So that'll bring up Ryan Healy. Healy at .312 with 11 home runs. First pitch in for a strike. Healy a home run last night, solo shot to extend his hitting streak to 10 games. Here it was a breaking ball, and he teed off on it.
You got a hanger from Peacock, and we've seen it time and time again. Healy all over off speed, and that one was no different.
Playable for Marwin Gonzalez, who is straddling the line. They call it a fair ball, and he makes the catch. So 2 outs.
Batting in the 6th
And
position,
that'll bring up Yonder Alonso.
third baseman, number 17, Yonder Alonso.
Yonder Alonso steps in, hitting .255. 7 home runs and 53 runs batted in. There's that crazy Yonder Alonso shift, which we saw last night. Look at the infield. I mean, that's a full shift, and then a major shift the other way in the outfield. That's as much as we've seen anybody shift for any hitter in an outfield situation this year. And another good breaking ball. So Musgrove's got it going tonight. Early on, at least, he's retired the first 6 with a couple of strikeouts.
Teoscar Hernandez.
Top of the third, Astros nothing and the A's nothing. Teoscar Hernandez steps in and he swings and misses. So it looks like Musgrove's got a good feel for his breaking ball. Manaya's got a good feel for his changeup.
Absolutely. So far we've seen both guys go to that pitch time and time again early in this game, and hitters haven't been able to do anything with either of them so far.
One and one the count to Hernandez. Marisnik to follow, and then Springer. And that one is hooked into left field for a base hit. So Hernandez with a leadoff hit.
And here's Manaya in the last inning. You see that change up to Correa down and away, has him out in front. A change up to Gaddis. Another change up to White down in the dirt. He made it look easy with those 3 punch outs.
5-3, good ERA at home. Not as much success on the road. His first couple of road starts were not very good, and that put the numbers down, and it's let go by Alonso out there. No first, he called him safe, and now he tags the runner, and that runner's out. Is it a double play yet? It certainly should be. First base umpire's Clint Fagan, and they said Alonso missed Marisnik on the tag, but then he tagged the runner. That was Hernandez, but Alonso said, no, I tagged them both. He lets it drop. Smart play. There's the first out, and now let's see if he does tag him. Tough to tell there.
Well, it's tough to tell, but look, he steps on the, he tags him, he's off the bag, and now he steps on the bag.
Well, did Marisnik? Yeah, he got him. He got him in the jersey. You could see the jersey move. Marisnik just barely touched the bag with his left hand.
Yep. So
but it looked like his glove brushed against the jersey.
You can see the glove kind of move right there, and then he goes over.
This may watch the jersey and watch the glove. Right here. This is the best look. Jersey. He got him. That's a double play.
And what I don't understand is, why is Hernandez coming off the bag right there? What are I don't know what you're thinking. Go back to the bag and just stay there, and then let anything else happen.
Well,
he goes off the bag.
Then you just tag him.
And Alonso just tags him.
Now watch the first base coach. When he sees what's happening, then he's saying, get back and stay there.
He's telling him to stay there. Now right there, Hernandez.
Don't go anywhere.
Now where are you going?
That's a good call. Crazy play, but the replay, last one we showed you, certainly looked like he got him. Blew this up just a little bit. Watch the uniform. See, the uniform moves. And that, to me, shows a tag. What do we know, huh?
Well, I mean, we were wrong last night, so there's no point in trying to guess.
That's true.
I mean, let's be honest. I thought last night was very obvious, and we were proven wrong, so. It seems as though the jersey moved. The only thing is, from the other angles, it doesn't seem like you really see Alonso's glove move that much.
Sure.
Which would be more of the telling sign, to see the glove come back a little.
So it's either going to be a double play or one out and a runner on first.
If this were to get overturned and they say Marisnik's out at first base,
that makes it even worse on Hernandez's part to come off the back. Just stay there.
And see, Marisnick just barely touches the base with his left hand. Uh-oh. This may not go over well if it is what we think it is. Did he point at second base? None of the runners have. Well, now Hernandez is running back out. He was the runner that was at first base. And so the runner, the hitter, Marisnick, is called out.
Yeah.
But Hernandez, the runner at first, is allowed to stay at first.
I don't understand this. And it seems as though the explanation that Melvin got was,
well, that's the way it stands. Well, I wish we could help you out a little bit more, but as it stands, Marisnick again called out. So the call, the safe call, was overturned. Marisnick is out.
yes,
So then at that point,
the play's
umpires
dead.
need to decide where to put the runner, and they put him back at first.
But that's what I mean. So essentially what the umpires are saying, that when that happens, the play's dead, which it shouldn't be. Because how do you, he came off the bag, so how do you, and you tagged him. How?
Yeah, I don't understand how it's not a double play, because the call was overturned, so the tag was made on the hitter, and he also tagged the runner.
Number 4, George Springer.
So very strange stuff, but there's one out. So the batter is Springer with a runner at first and one out. First pitch to Springer is a strike on the inside corner. Springer struck out swinging in the first inning, one of 4 strikeouts for Manaea. There's a shot past a diving Semien, and that's a base hit. So Hernandez goes to second, stops there. Teoscar Hernandez must be feeling pretty lucky.
Well, Manaea went with the heater in, didn't quite get it in. You can see Vogt reach back over the plate. Springer, who is
number 10,
very aggressive all over that fastball, just past the diving Semien.
So here's Yuli Gurriel. First pitch hit towards second. Wendell has it to Semien on to first. Double play. So Manaea gets the big double play, and the Astros do not score. Bottom of the third coming up. Baseball at CSN California is brought to you by Bank of America. Life's better when we're connected. So bottom of the third at the Coliseum, and we are being told now that tonight's game is being played under protest. Bob Melvin came out, wanted an explanation, may not have liked what he got. So for whatever that is, it's being played under protest. So a very strange play in the top of the third. And it really all started with Yonder Alonso. He could have caught it, but he decided to let it drop, try to get the double play, which is
smart.
It's a good, smart move if you're confident enough doing it.
Yep.
And a lot of guys, they'll just take the out.
Yep.
But Alonso said, I'm going to take a shot at a double play, and it looked like he pulled it off. And we're not quite sure why he did not.
Yeah, I still don't understand. I still just don't quite get it why Hernandez was allowed to go back to first base after coming off the bag and Alonso tagging him. But guess maybe we'll find out after the game then.
A little bit high to Eibner. Eibner, Nunez, Smolinski, the bottom three for the A's. Left center, Hernandez has got just enough room to make the catch. So Eibner put a charge into it.
Batting in the 8th position.
That's the one Eibner'd like to have back. He got the hanger, just caught it towards the end of the bat, just out in front of that.
So that'll bring up Renato Nunez. Nunez 1 for 9 in the big leagues. Got that hit on Friday night in Texas. Grounds this one to Correa, who charges to get a good hop, throws to first, 2 away. Musgrove has retired the first 8.
Batting 9th, left fielder.
Blue Jays and the Mariners underway up at Safeco. Game 2 of that big series. No score in the 3rd inning. Jay Happ for the Blue Jays. Sashi Iwakuma for the Mariners. So Happ a 19-game winner. Iwakuma a 16-game winner. Last night, Blue Jays won 3-2. That is a big, big series. We'll keep a close eye on that ball game tonight. Jay Happ trying to join Rick Porcello as 20-game winner in the American League. Two now, Smolinski. So the A's not seeing that breaking ball very well in the early going from Joe Musgrove.
No, the one thing Musgrove is doing, it seems like he can throw the get me over, and then he can also throw the late sharp one that's down and away. We've seen they're the same speed, they're the same pitch, but one starts middle in.
And he chased it again. So well off the plate, and that's 3 strikeouts now for Joe Musgrove, as Altuve will lead it off when we come back. call brought to you by T-Mobile. Most home runs by shortstop, age 21 season or younger. Carlos Correa, he's got 2. How about having your name on there twice when the graphic says age 21 season or younger? He's 21 right now. He'll be 22 soon.
Not a bad list to be on.
Usually, if you're on there once, that's great, but he was on there twice. Now they're back on the headset, so. Well, I guarantee nothing has happened in this half inning for them to be on the headset, so I don't know what they're looking at. Interesting stuff. I wish we could pass on more information.
I
wish we could listen in, but that's not the way it works. Well, that is the crew chief, Mike Winters. He and his crew saw a very strange play in that 3rd inning. So Altuve to lead it off, followed by Correa and Gaddis. So 3 powerful right-handed hitters for Sean Manaea to face. Altuve line drive right into the glove of Ryan Healy, 1 away. So Altuve 1 pitch, 1 out here in the 4th inning.
Altuve doesn't wait around. As we said, first pitch, and Healy more than ready for it. Fairly easy, keeping his eye on the ball.
So Altuve 0 for 2, and that'll bring up Carlos Correa. Correa takes just a little outside. 1 walk, 4 strikeouts for Manaea. He's allowed 2 hits. Correa struck out in the 2nd inning. So today is Tuesday the 20th. Carlos Correa will be 22 years old on Thursday. There you go. He's getting old, isn't he? Years are flying by.
Well, he's just such an incredibly talented kid.
Yes, he is. Tough to play against, but you see a guy like this, he's fun to watch. Kind of like Mike Trout. You've seen him from day 1, and he's fun to watch.
Yeah.
He's hard on your team sometimes, but good swing there by Carlos Correa.
It's so obvious, and I think to any fan, when you see a young ball player who gets it. I mean, who has the talent, who has the charisma, who has the. I mean, he's such a well-spoken kid, so smart, and just really understands the game.
Yeah, that's a good call.
Being so young.
And you watch him play, and he really does look like he's 30 years old, like he's been in the league for 7
He
years.
handles himself the right way. And you know, there's some people who sit at home and see certain players with certain acts, or that can get tired at times.
Yep, no question.
And he plays with excitement. He shows his emotions, but he plays it the right way. He gets excited when you should get excited.
Now, this is certainly easy for me to say. I'm spending other people's money, but if you're going to give an 8, 9, 10-year contract to somebody, he's the kind of guy you would give it
without a doubt. His speech this winter when accepting the Rookie of the Year award, I was there, and it was incredible to watch he was what, 21 this winter, 21-year-old kid get up in front of all those people, and the way he spoke and the things he said about his home country and his parents, and it was great. It was really refreshing to see.
Gaddis rolls that one toward the A's dugout. So 1-2 the count. Gaddis struck out in the 2nd inning. It's this one down the right field line, headed for the bullpen. This first row of seats, Astros fan grabs it, and everybody's happy down that way. There's a few Carlos Correa Astros jerseys out there. Up and away to Manaea, or from Manaea. Marwin Gonzalez will be next. Gaddis drives one toward Valencia. Valencia to his right makes the catch. A pretty hard hit ball by Evan Gaddis. Reached for it a little bit. So 2 outs for Marwin Gonzalez.
Now batting, number 9, Marwin.
Rangers are beating the Rangers are beating the Angels 5-4 in the 8th inning at home. Rangers with a magic number of 3. And they will be here this weekend. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Healy dives, can't get it. Simeon does his throw to second base. Not quite in time. So it'll be a hit for Gonzalez, but a very nice play by Simeon.
Well, Gonzalez hits it on the ground. You can see Healy can't quite get it. Simeon makes a great play. And lots of times you'll see those shortstops go into that slide, turn and throw. Simeon had to get that foot down before he could get rid of that baseball. And it just, Correa with a good jump off first base, sliding directly into the bag. Lots of times we see the runner's foot come up, but he kept it down, went straight into the bag. And just beat that throw from Simeon.
It was close.
No, it absolutely was. But, you know, like we've talked about, the foot comes up, and right there you can see it into the bag. Wendell makes that stretch.
A little bit low to Tyler White. Second time that the Astros have had a runner in scoring position. White struck out in the second. Alonso, maybe, yes. So Yonder Alonso got over there, reached out at the last second, grabbed it, and the Astros strand a pair.
have once again partnered to bring the Science of the Game program to local 1st through 8th graders. Area students have the opportunity to earn a pair of tickets to a regular season A's game by completing fun and challenging science equations about the game of baseball. Get more info at athletics.com/science.
Top of the order for the A's. Trying to get something going against Joe Musgrove, and they have not been able to do that just yet. No score. Bottom of the 4th inning. Musgrove has retired the first 9. And a quick 0-2 to Joey Wendo, who hit a fly ball to center field. Semien to follow, and then Stephen Vogt here in the 4th. Watching Musgrove tonight, you just know at some point he's going to go to that breaking ball. And he did, but he misses outside. So 2-2 the count. That one looked like maybe a changeup that just did not quite come out of the hand right.
Yeah, he tried to mix in another changeup, just the second one that he's thrown.
Well, this will tell you something right here, what he throws on 3-2. And he threw a breaking ball, and Wendell with a very good at-bat, so the A's have their first base run. We'll see if they can do anything with it.
Now batting shortstop, number 10, Marcus Semien.
It'll be Marcus Semien to see if he can move the runner along. First pitch is a strike on the outside corner. Semien grounded out to the third baseman in the first inning. Gurriel right even with the bag. Outfield pulled around toward right and shallow. Hit hard right at Correa. Out at second, out at first. Double play. So a hard hit ball right at the shortstop. And that is a tailor-made double play.
Well, a pretty easy play for Correa and Altuve.
Number 21.
Standard, you can see Altuve just makes the flip. Semien hit it hard, but the ball was down, and Correa, as good as he is, just the standard 6-4-3.
So 2 away, and now Vogt will hit. Vogt grounded out to the first baseman in the first inning. A little bit low. Full shift for Vogt, including the outfield being pulled over. I am amazed, though, at how shallow the Astros outfielders play. Look at Springer, the right fielder. And I shouldn't be amazed because we've seen him enough, and they always play shallow. Marisnick plays a pretty shallow center field.
Yep.
Now, I think it probably helps them more than it hurts them because they're all very good. Marisnick's terrific center fielder.
This is another breaking ball down. You can see Vogt just not able to lay off of that pitch. As I've said, Musgrove, he's thrown a few different types of breaking balls. There's times when he has to throw it for a strike, which he can, which so many times you get used to wanting to look for that breaking ball down, and when he throws one up almost as a get me over strike, it makes you freeze on it. And you take it, and then he throws that good one, which gets you swinging at it. But he went back to the changeup there, 3-1 behind in the count. Kind of surprised. You got 2 outs, nobody on. Go after Vogt.
3-2 pitch is hooked foul. Not a good play. Good effort, bad play. And that is possible to do that.
It's just a whiff.
They threw the towel at him.
Supposed to protect him.
Yeah, he was disappointed himself. 3-2 pitch, changeup, and he missed high. So second walk in the inning. So now Valencia will hit.
Now batting right fielder, the 26, Danny Valencia.
Valencia struck out in the second inning. He saw the big curveball from Musgrove. Surprised at the 3-2 changeup to Vogt?
Very much so.
Wendell too, right?
Yeah,
Wendell's was a breaking ball.
Yeah. I mean, you gotta, at the time of Wendell's, you 9 up, 9 down, and you're trying to fool some guys, and then with Vogt, trying to trick them. I mean, obviously Musgrove has good stuff. Go after him, make him earn it. You're going to throw your third or fourth best pitch, probably his fourth best pitch, with 2 outs and nobody on. Just doesn't make sense.
Valencia chops one over the bag, but Altuve's right there. Side retired. Couple of walks for the A's, but that's it, and we're through 4. No score. Play in the top of the 3rd inning, and here it is. Now Alonso lets it drop, tags the runner who was called safe, and then takes the hitter who was running, and then the guy leaves first base, and we now have the explanation. Okay, the call was reversed, so they're saying originally he did not tag Marisnik, who was going from home to first. Yep. They reversed that call and said yes, he did tag him. They reviewed it, changed the call. All right, we understand all that. Now the MLB explanation, and this is official, the runner Hernandez reacted to an incorrect call by the first base umpire, thus he was allowed to stay at first. Agree, disagree?
Yep.
That's the official reason why that's the way that the play was called. So now we know. We may not like it, but now we know.
But the part that I don't understand is that, so essentially, if the call is messed up, the play's dead.
Well,
like, I mean, that's kind of what they're saying, because if Hernandez were to have taken off for second base after he's called safe, after Marisnick was called safe, and gets in a rundown, and let's say the A's were to mess it up and he's safe at second, is he then required to go back to first base? You know what I mean? Or is he allowed to stay at second? Because essentially what you're saying is that the call is dead, or the play's dead, and he's allowed to stay at first base
because there was an incorrect call made. That's what they're saying.
And I guess that's what I would like to know is, say Hernandez were to take off for second, he was safe. Does he have to go back?
So the replay official should consider several factors when placing the runner, including whether the incorrect call affected the subsequent behavior or conduct of the offensive or defensive players. In this case, they're talking about Hernandez, who was the runner at first. And they're saying that it did affect his decision, the incorrect call.
And I guess that's why I'm saying, so if Hernandez were to have, he came off the bag because he thought he had to run, sort of. If he were to have taken off for second, he was safe. Does he stay at second, or does he go back? That's what I don't.
2-2 pitch, swing and a miss by Hernandez. So 5th strikeout for Sean Manaea.
Well, now that we're done with that messed up play, let's get that I still don't completely understand. Here's a good fastball from Manaea. He just throws it right by Hernandez with as many changeups as Manaea's thrown. Hernandez a little late on that heater.
Here's Marisnick. He was part of that controversial play. He was the hitter running toward first base. Strike on the inside corner. Slapped foul. So 1-2 the count. And he got him swinging. Fastball at 94 miles an hour. 6 strikeouts for Sean Manaea.
It's funny what having that changeup in the back of your mind does to you from at bat to at bat. You can see how late Marisnick is on that pitch. I mean, that's almost in the glove by the time his bat goes through the zone. And as many changeups as Manaea threw in the first couple innings, for good reason, he's late.
So top of the order in George Springer. Springer with a strikeout and a base hit. A little bit low, but a pretty good pitch by Manaea. Both guys have been good tonight. Musgrove and Manaea. Manaea with a few more pitches, 74-55. Started Kansas City on Wednesday. Manaea threw 67 pitches. They'll be careful with the youngsters now the rest of the way. Figure with Manaea starting tonight, which is Tuesday. He'll probably have one more start at some point next week. And remember, the A's using 6 starters right now. So maybe in Anaheim Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Seattle Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Middle of the week for Manaea. Springer takes, and it's a full count. Springer walks a lot, so he takes that big swing, but he's not afraid to do what he's got to do to get a walk. And strike 3 called. Springer thought he had a walk. Marty Foster has other ideas, and Sean Manaea strikes out the side in the top of the 5th. Last CSN Authentic Fan Friday for the season. The Rangers are in town. You're going to get a ticket and a value deck behind home plate, an authentic A's fan grab bag, a cheer card, and a $6 food and drink voucher, all for one great price. The best deal in Bay Area baseball is CSN's Authentic Fan Friday. Remember, the game starts at 6:35 on Friday, and there'll be fireworks after the game. So a lot going on Friday night with the first place Texas Rangers in town. Oriole throws high. Healy's tagged out by Gonzalez. 1 out.
Well, something that Musgrove has been doing tonight, you can see he starts with the changeup grip every single time. And why he does that is because that's the toughest grip for him to get. And lots of times when guys, maybe in the past when he was in the minors, maybe he tipped his pitches when he went for that changeup grip, maybe flared the glove, something along those lines. So if you start with that changeup grip, which is the most difficult one to get when you're either in the windup or from the stretch, it is easier to switch to, say, a fastball or his breaking ball. I know for me, I always started with my split grip. Otherwise, my hand, I was trying to dig it into the ball. And sometimes you have little things you do that maybe tip off that that's the pitch you're trying to throw.
So when you say toughest to get, you're just saying just to get the ball where you want it to be in your hands?
Yes. And so if you see a pitcher who is digging in the glove, like I would have been, let's say, with my split, you can, as a hitter or whatever, you can, okay, chances are he's going to that split. Sure. You know, and that's how you tip pitches, very easy. And for him, if he's trying to get his last 3 fingers around that baseball, and if the glove flares or something, that's a tell of what you're trying to throw.
Well, a lot of sliders, 44%.
Yep.
And there it was again. He just keeps throwing it.
And the 2 before that were good ones. They were down and in under Alonso's hands. That one, he's trying to throw it down and in, but it's like a backup spinner, which is sometimes a backup slider is the best pitch in baseball. But that one he left up and away, and that's what I mean, where it's the same pitch, but it's very different in the hitter's eyes.
That one is belted towards center, but lots of room for Marisnik, who backs up and makes the catch. 2 outs here in the bottom of the 5th. He's still looking for their first hit. They've had 2 base runners, 2 walks in the 4th inning, but one of them was erased on a double play. So here's Brett Eibner. Eibner hit a fly ball to left field in the third. He's 0 for his last 12. Good pitch, just a little bit low. Swing and a miss. Went upstairs with a fastball. He gets a swing through on a high fastball and goes right back up there, and Eibner fouls it back.
Well, those last two fastballs right on the same eye level is where he likes to start that good slider. See if he tries to throw that good one down and away to bounce it.
And he did, and that was a good pitch. So that is strikeout number 4, and it's a 3-up, 3-down inning for Joe Musgrove. No score after 5. A's nothing. Sean Manaea and Joe Musgrove, couple of youngsters showing their stuff tonight. Gurriel, Altuve, and Correa for Houston. And there's a line drive backhanded by Marcus Semien, 1 out. All right, here's our Bank of America alert. The game we're keeping an eye on tonight is the Blue Jays and the Mariners. And the Mariners scored 2 in the bottom of the third to take a 2-0 lead, but Toronto has answered back with 4 in the top of the fourth, and they lead 4-2. A couple of 2-run homers, one by Russell Martin, his 20th of the year, and then Michael Saunders, a couple hitters later, hit his 24th of the year. So the Blue Jays doing what they do, hit home runs. So Blue Jays 4, Mariners 2, and just by looking at the wild card standings, you see how important that game is. The Mariners 2.5 back. So keep an eye on it. The Tigers won tonight, so they get a big win. Yankees won. The Orioles lost again to Boston. Altuve bunts it. Alonso takes it with the bare hand and then puts the ball in the glove and tags him. Nifty play by Yonder Alonso. What you don't want him to do is barehand it and then tag him with the glove, but don't put the ball in the glove.
Exactly. He goes with the bare hand. Sometimes on a bunt like that, you don't know what the spin is, and I think that's why he barehanded that ball. He wasn't sure which way it's going to go, and then you safely apply that tag. That's one you see guys sometimes jam their wrist. whatever it might be, you got to be careful.
Well, 2 away. 6 in a row retired by Manaea, and the first pitch is a strike to Carlos Correa. Ow. Ow. Healy grabs it, throws across in time. Sean Manaea rolling along. That's a 7-pitch inning for the big left-hander. No scores. We go to the bottom of the 6th. Ford, the right choice. On this date in 1998, Cal Ripken takes himself out of the starting lineup, does not play in the Orioles game against the Yankees, ending his consecutive games played streak at 2,632. Indeed. Worth a standing ovation. After nearly 16 years, Ripken says, it was time to do the right thing, end the streak. It began on May 30th, 1982. That was his rookie year.
Pretty sure that record's safe.
That one is safe. You can do
pretty good chance.
Yeah. There's some awesome baseball records out there. Some are safer than others, but none is more safe than that one.
I mean, I know they say DiMaggio's hit. I mean, it's a safe one. This one is safe, especially in today's game.
Well, I mean, it's not even. I don't even know how to put it. Nobody's going to come anywhere near this. I mean, you could get close to DiMaggio's streak. I mean, guys got to 45.
That's what I mean.
So it's amazing. 19-time All-Star, Rookie of the Year in '82. So that's when it started. A couple of MVPs. Finished with 431 home runs. Over the head of the pitcher, Correa charges, fires to first, and Nunez is retired. So 1 out.
Well, the A's still looking for that first hit. This ball just chopped over Musgrove's head, and this shows the athleticism of Correa. That's not an easy play. He comes in, goes down with both hands because it's all in one motion. You field it and you release it all in one motion, which he does. Boy, does he make that look easy.
He's got such a strong arm. Smolinski rolls one through the right side, and that's the first hit for the A's. Musgrove reached for it, could not get it, and there was absolutely nobody there. So the shift hurts the Astros that time. That would have been a ground ball right at Altuve.
Well, the Astros, one of the higher shifting teams in baseball. You throw a slider down and away. What is the hitter supposed to do? You're supposed to drive it the other way. Well, this wasn't hit all that hard, but when you're playing everyone to the other side, it's not a fun way to lose a no-hitter.
But what you have to remember is A couple innings ago, there was a ground ball right up the middle, and Altuve was right there. He picked it up. So.
Yeah, but a pitcher doesn't remember those.
No, it's a good point. You're right. And you can't blame him.
You don't remember those. You remember the one that just happened, though. He'll remember that one for a long time.
Plus, isn't it a natural instinct when you're standing in the middle of the diamond, you've been a pitcher your whole life, and you know when a ball goes by you and where it is, that it's
right at a fielder.
It's going right at a fielder. It has to be, because that's where guys have been sitting the whole time I've been playing baseball. And now it's different.
Well, years ago, you used to hear announcers or whatever say, "Oh, the guy's been there 100-some years."
Yeah, that's right.
Well,
Can't say that
these
anymore.
last 7, 8 years, all of a sudden, those guys haven't been there anymore.
You could not say that. A little high to Joey Wendell, who has hit a fly ball to center, and he has walked.
And now the Astros, Gurriel. I mean, he's playing where Correa is. He's at shortstop. So there's nobody at third base.
Correa is going to be the guy who is the pivot on a double play. In fact, it'd be interesting if the ground ball is hit to Altuve. Who's the pivot? Probably Correa. Although Gurriel,
he's close enough. It would probably be him.
Late timeout call. Musgrove went through with the pitch.
Well, and see, and that's what's interesting. 2 strikes. Wendell at the plate, and he's trying to throw a fastball away right there. That's what Gaddis wanted. I mean, that's a perfect pitch. Wendell, a little emergency hack, ground ball right towards third, and it's a base hit.
And that one is bounced right through the left side. Absolutely nobody there.
I mean, I'm not going to say I told you so, but I told you so.
And Musgrove was like, seriously? Nothing but a big chopper?
But that's the problem with the shifts sometimes, is you're trying to make a pitch that is set up perfectly for the hitter with that shift.
That's true.
I mean, that is a pitch. It's a fastball. You have a good breaking ball. So if you throw a good heater away, he's going to be laid on. Well, there's nobody standing at third base, so there's really nothing else Wendell can do with that pitch other than that. That's where I have the problems with the shift, is that a pitcher has to still pitch a guy a certain way. And if the shift doesn't accommodate the way you want to pitch him, you get hurt by it. You have to pitch to the situation, and when you pitch to that situation and you got guys on the opposite side of the field, those are the types of things that are going to happen.
Remember, we talked about Joey Wendell last night. We were surprised that there's so much shift on him, because we've seen him
slap it to left
in a short time, but he clearly has the ability to hit the ball to left field. But yet we have seen teams shift on him, and it's interesting. And Marty Foster will shake things up at the mound.
Well, and Strom, the pitching coach, I mean, he basically went out there just to settle Musgrove down. He's given up 2 hits now, and both of them were what Musgrove would call cheapies.
He's hacked off. Is what you're trying to say.
He's frustrated. So it's like, okay, let's settle down. Let's go back to making a pitch.
Well, plus it's the first 2 hits of the game.
Yes, but as a pitcher, you've made 2 really good pitches, and they both resulted in base hits.
Yeah, that's true.
And as much as he is used to this shift, it still frustrates you.
So 2-0 the count to Marcus Semien. So an opportunity for the Athletics. Their first 2 hits in the game coming here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Outside, and now it's 3-0.
All 3 of these pitches, Musgrove just kind of rushing himself. He's trying. Strom went out there to try to slow him down, and his front side flying open. He's yanked all 3 of them. Things are just moving a little quick right now.
And a 3-0 pitch is high, and now the A's have the bases loaded. And you wonder too if the 2 hits didn't unnerve him a little bit.
Yep.
Young pitcher, no hitter through 5 innings. And A.J. Hinch says that's enough. And Musgrove's not going to be happy with this. So Davinsky's coming in, the right-hander. When it's time for change, think Speedy Oil Change and Auto Service, your oil change, tune-up, and repair experts.
Commemorate the A's 2016 season with your own Oakland Athletics team photo presented by Zevia, the zero-calorie soda. On Sunday, September 25th at the A's versus Rangers game, 10,000 fans will go home with the 2016 team photo. A perfect souvenir for your home or office. For information and tickets, head to athletics.com/tickets.
So Musgrove pitched very well tonight. And it's up to the bullpen now. He is not going to get a win tonight. As Chris Davinsky steps to the mound with the bases loaded and 1 out. The first pitch, swing and a miss.
And I'm not surprised by A.J. Hinch making that quick call. The situation the Astros are in, can't afford to fall behind. You need to try and win every game you can. And with a young pitcher on the mound, you can tell things were starting to slip away just a little.
Davinsky's done a good job coming out of the bullpen. He started a game against the A's earlier this year, but now out of the bullpen, and he's been good.
And he's got that funky delivery. He's almost stepping right at Vogt. Whole front side seems as though it's open.
And a 1-1 pitch. Vogt gets a piece of it. 1-2.
You see, that's just a slider down. Vogt, that's 2 of them now. Hasn't been able to pick up that spin. And as I said, there's some deception with Davinsky's delivery. Vogt obviously frustrated. He went after that one.
So Vogt got a battle here. Smolinski, Wendell, Simeon are the runners. And that time he laid off. Boy, that's a nasty pitch from Davinsky. The inherited runners numbers for Davinsky, very good. 24-26. He's got his hands full here, though. Popped up foul, so Vogt finally got a fastball and he fouled it back.
And this is what I'm talking about. Watch where he lands here. He's closed, and that leg. You don't normally see guys land that open and still able to drive the baseball down. Lots of times those guys end up getting on the side of the baseball and it's a little flat. He's got good depth to that slider.
Tapped towards short. Correa charges, throw to first. In time, run comes in to score. Very close play at first. And Stephen Vogt is going to get an RBI on the ground out.
Well, Vogt does what he has to. He gets another slider. He's out in front of it. Correa shading kind of behind the bag at second base. Athletic enough. He's able to get over there. And with that strong arm, still able to get Vogt at first base. But more importantly, Vogt gets the run in for the A's to take the 1-0 lead.
So give Stephen Vogt RBI number 49. So 2 outs, but a couple of runners in scoring position. First pitch to Valencia. Swings wildly at a pitch down and away. So a run for Sean Manaea with action in the bullpen. Tried the same pitch. This time Valencia watches it go by. Strikeout and a ground out to second for Danny Valencia. Strike at the knees. Fastball at 95 miles an hour.
Well, you feel like you're getting slider after slider from Davinsky. That ball maybe down a little bit. There's been a few that Marty Foster hasn't called, and a couple that he has of those low strikes.
Davinsky has made 5 starts, but his ERA as a reliever is 1.41. It's a very good Astros bullpen.
Well, and what that tells me is that guys can't pick it up out of his hand as a reliever because they're only seeing him one time. Sure. But when you see him as a starter, you get a little more comfortable with how funky he is and how his front side flies open and the stuff that he has. So the stuff as a starter isn't quite the same. And that deception isn't quite the same when guys see him multiple times. But as a reliever, just coming in, it's not a fun at bat.
2-2 pitch. Gurriel has it. Throws on the run in time. Side retired. A's get a run on a couple of hits and a walk. So 7th inning coming up. A's 1, Astros 0. Brought to you by McDonald's. September 14th of this year George Springer, his 8th leadoff homer of the season, tying Craig Biggio for club record. Biggio, of course, the Hall of Famer, he set that in 2001. There he is. Leadoff home runs by that guy, George Springer. Right now, the A's leading Springer and the Astros 1-0. 7th inning, and it's to the bullpen for the Athletics. When it's time for change, think Speedy Oil Change and Auto Service, your oil change, tune-up, and repair experts. So John Axford comes in.
Leading off the top of the 7th inning for Houston, number 11, Evan.
Axford will face Gaddis, Gonzalez, and White. Pretty good workload for Axford this year. Appearance number 65. Once you get into the 60s and the 70s, that's a lot of games for a reliever. So Sean Manaea on Wednesday in Kansas City. 5 shutout innings tonight, 6 shutout innings. So trying to finish strong. Certainly looks like he is doing that. Healy charges. Healy bare hands. The throw is not quite in time. So Gaddis, the big fella, busting it down the line, and he's got an infield hit. Takes him a little while to get going. Once he does, he can move a little bit.
Well, this does, but Healy, what a nice job coming in and all in one motion. He bare hands it. You can see you got to get your arm up to get something on that throw, which he does.
Number 9.
That's a nice play, though.
Gonzalez.
I mean, you can't really do much more than what he did right there.
Made it very close.
Well, it was just hit so soft, and as good of a break as Healy got on it, it's still you still have to stay back a second until you read that ball.
So that is hit number 4 for the Astros. Here's Marwin Gonzalez. Gonzalez hits it hard. Joey Wendell dives. He's got it. Fires to second to get the out there. Sensational play by Joey Wendell. So not only did he make a great diving play, but he got the lead runner.
Well, and I thought at first he was just going to come up, take the out at first base, but you saw just how quick he got 13, up on his hands here, to his knees, flips it on underhand or on sidearm to Simeon, and what a nice play getting it over there.
Well, the thing too, Mark, is in a game where the score is 1-0, getting the lead runner is huge.
Absolutely.
So here's Tyler White. Runner goes, pitches a strike, throw to second base. Not in time. Marwin Gonzalez yelling at Joey Wendell, not sure why. Joey Wendell's just going to check to see what the problem is. Joey Wendell was trying to get out of the way. I don't know what Gonzalez is yelling about. Have no idea what could be bugging Marwin Gonzalez.
Like he's moving his foot to get out of the way. I mean, sure, you're there trying to catch the baseball first. He's a little sensitive,
a little touchy. So runner at second, that's the tying run. Off the plate. Nice play by Axford, and he flips it to Alonso. So that's the second out, and Gonzalez now at third. It's a tough, I mean, you could see Alonso was not quite sure whether to go after it or not.
Well, I think both guys, your first reaction is Alonso went after it, but then as you could tell, Axford was able to get underneath that pretty easily. Take your time, make sure you catch that. I was actually surprised he even bothered to flip it rather than just stepping on the bag yourself.
So we're going to get
Your
pinch
attention,
hitter
please,
for
ladies and gentlemen.
Gasco Hernandez.
Number 16,
Tony Kemp.
Batting for Hernandez.
Tony Kemp, left-handed hitter. So A.J. Hinch wants a left-handed bat in this spot. Kemp at 220, no homers, 5 RBIs, speedy guy. A couple of doubles, couple of triples. Healy comes in. In fact, he's a couple steps in on the grass, and Alonso even with the bag. Kemp, you never know, lay one down here. He's that kind of hitter.
Well, kind of like what we saw with Wendell when he had that base hit down the third base line. Kemp's kind of like that, where he'll just slap at it.
And that one off the glove of the pitcher. Wendell cannot get it. He slipped just a little bit. And this game is tied. Kemp hustling for 2, and he is safe. Axford got a piece of it. And then Joey Wendell, it looked like he was going to have a play, and then he slipped. So that's frustrating for the Athletics as this game is now tied.
Well, and that ball's not hit all that hard, and Axford reacts to it. There's nothing you can really do as a pitcher. That ball is hit hard enough that it's just an instinct. You go after it, you try to catch it, and the second it went off his glove, Wendell had already broken to try to make that play, and by that time he couldn't stop after the deflection off the glove. And as you said, he slipped into the outfield, and Kemp with his speed able to get into second base.
So it goes as a double. How about that? A ball off the pitcher's glove, and it ends up a double. So we're tied 1-1. Kemp, the speedy one, in scoring position. Nick, ground out and a strikeout. Pitch a little bit low. So Sean Manaea, 6 shutout innings, but he's going to get a no decision tonight. Blue Jays leading the Mariners. It's now 8-2. 4th inning up in Seattle, so Blue Jays swinging it tonight. Fastball inside, 3-0. Nick taken all the way, first strike. So a couple of hits in the inning. The Astros have got their first run across. And now full count.
And give the Astros hitters credit. This is 2 nights in a row where they weren't able to do a whole lot off the A's starter. In the second, the starter comes out of the game. Both nights, in that first inning, they got to that bullpen. Or they got to the A's bullpen and battled back to tie it up.
So payoff pitch coming up. Got a good piece of Stephen Vogt.
And that can't feel good.
No.
Off the side of the mask. I don't know if that's better than a direct blow when it gets you on the front of the mask. But I can't say I really want to find out.
That
either.
is not something I'd want to find out either. Well, Liam Hendricks will start to loosen up for the A's. Another 3-2 pitch coming up to Marisnik. And it's high, walked him. Well, the inning continues. Second walk of the night by A's pitchers. So the hitter is going to be George Springer. Usually have that clock working for the pitching coaches, but I don't see it working. Way out in left center field. You know what? Gives Kurt a little extra time.
Yeah.
Now batting.
Or they just forgot to start it. I thought I saw it earlier in the game, but these last couple visits, it hasn't been on.
So here is Springer, 1 for 3, a single and 2 strikeouts. So we'll have a meeting on the mound. Wasn't the pitching coach just out there?
Yeah, but sometimes he then leaves, and then you get out there and you go, wait a minute, okay, what sign were we going with the guy on second?
It's like your kids when you tell them to do something, they don't do it and they just forget.
I can't tell you how many times the catcher's out there say, okay, hey, sign after 2 or outs +1, whatever it might be, and then he goes back and you look at him and you go, I don't remember.
That is not what we talked about. And that one's inside to Springer. So big out to get, keep this game tied, and it's George Springer. And that one's going to go to the backstop. So we'll see what the ruling is. Looks like both got a pretty good club on it.
Yeah, this is just a cutter that I think just cut a little bit more than what Vogt was prepared for. And you can see it goes right off the end of his glove. Wasn't close enough, I don't think, that he's trying to necessarily frame it. Well, maybe he was. Lots of times you'll see catchers catch it right in the end of the mitt, trying to keep it there for the umpire to make it look closer than it is.
So it goes as a pass ball. On the right field line. Valencia hustling over, still hustling. He's not going to be able to get it, and it's a foul ball. So the count now 2-1. So Axford on in relief of Manaea, with Hendricks warming up in the bullpen. Again, Springer fouls it. Fastball 97 miles an hour. Axford is consistently, from day one this year, 95, 96, 97 with his fastball.
Yeah, you know what you're going to get with them.
Another fastball 97, and that one just missed outside.
Well, he tried to dot that outer corner and just maybe overthrew it just a little bit. Just yanked it. But hey, if you're going to throw it, 2-2, throw it 3-2.
And he did, and again fouled down the right field line. So Springer just a little late on the good velocity from Axford. Did he really put the baseball in his pocket?
Well, I guess he wanted to save it for later.
Come on. All right, good. All right, we got it straightened out.
Whoever that was down the line, in his defense, there are sometimes people around the bullpen, they've already gotten a whole bunch.
That's true.
So you kind of want to save it for someone else.
Great speed on the bases for the Astros. And reached for on a pitch that, well, it was close. May have been ball four, but Springer says too close to take. So, 8th pitch of the at-bat coming up.
And Exford's pretty much just stayed away with fastballs and cutters. If he were to try to go fastball in, I'm really not sure Springer'd even be able to pull the trigger as much as he's looking out over the plate.
Swing and a miss. He struck him out. So Axford gets the big out, but the Astros do get a run. So as we head to the 7th inning stretch here at the Coliseum, it's the A's 1 and the Astros 1. The Stanley Cup and the Western Conference champions, the Sharks, are soon back to the ice. Hockey returns October 15th to CSN California. The home of the authentic Sharks fan is CSN California. NHL getting close. NBA will start soon after that. NFL in full swing. Pennant races, so a good time to be a sports fan. Tony Kemp stays in the game. He's in left field. He had the RBI double that tied the game. So Davinsky back out there. He got the final 2 outs in the 6th inning. The A's did score a run. Healy, Alonso, and Eibner. Healy, a foul out and a ground out. Pulled off that one badly. So he'll readjust and get back in there with the count 0-2. And he got him. So we've seen Davinsky use that pitch, and it's pretty nasty.
Follow Athletics Baseball Live with the MLB.com @bat app. Stay up to the moment, any moment with Game Day. Live game video highlights, StatCast news, and more. Download MLB.com @bat, the #1 app for live baseball on your phone and tablet.
Good looking sweatshirt on that gentleman. First pitch to Yonder Alonso off the end of the bat toward first. And Gonzalez flips to Davinsky, 2 outs.
Well, what a job Davinsky's done since he's been in this game. He got the ground ball from Vogt where the A's scored their run, but other than that, he's been outstanding.
Now batting center fielder, 39.
You look at
Brett Eisner.
their bullpen. You see this guy, you see Giles, you see Will Harris, you see Neshek, you see Gregerson.
Yep.
Some quality right-handers down there. Red Sox beat the Orioles again 5-2. So the Red Sox are inching closer to winning that division. In fact, their magic number is now 7. They won 5-2 tonight in Baltimore. So for the second night in a row, they defeat the Orioles, and now the Orioles have dropped into 5th place or into 3rd place, 5 games back. Ortiz, another home run. He's got 36 home runs this year and 121 RBIs. It was career home run number 539. So David Ortiz doing his thing, and so are the Red Sox, as they have now won 6 in a row.
Well, I think with Ortiz, the RBIs I can understand. A couple of the guys in front of him are on base constantly. But the homers being, you know, his age, I mean, he might hit 40 at 40.
So, swing and a miss, and a heck of an inning for Davinsky. A 9-pitch inning with 2 strikeouts. So, 8th inning coming up. It'll be Gurriel, Altuve, and Correa. 1-1 game.
Memberships are on sale now. Whether you want to renew your membership or join the party, visit athletics.com/2017. You'll find all the benefits that A's membership has to offer, including early bird incentives, exclusive experiences, half-price parking, a flexible ticket exchange program, and more. You can even lock in your 2017 seating location. Visit athletics.com/2017 and join the party today.
Another tight ball game. 1-1, top of the 8th. So when it's time for change, think Speedy Oil Change and Auto Service, your oil change, tune-up, and repair experts. So Liam Hendricks comes in. Well, Hendricks, 3.84 ERA, 49th appearance, 2.34 hitters for the Astros. Last night it was a tight game. Into the late innings, and the Astros won it 4-2. 2-0 pitch is a strike on the outside corner. Down the right field line, but it's going to be fouled. Rangers beat the Astros 5-4. Omar Mazara hit a home run for Texas, his 20th of the year. And Gregerson gets up now for the Astros. Popped up. Wendell backpedaling. Says, I got it. And he does. Gurriel 0 for 4. One out here in the top of the 8th inning. And that'll bring up Altuve. With that Rangers win, their magic number is now 2.
Now batting, number 27, Jose.
Tigers beat the Twins 8-1. That's the first of a 3-game series. Miguel Cabrera, a home run, is 34th of the year. So the Tigers get a big win. They are still in it big time. Altuve bounces one into left field, and that's a 1-out single. And that is hit number 200 for Jose Altuve. So for the 3rd consecutive season, he has at least 200 hits. That's not too shabby.
And this is what Altuve does. Not a bad pitch, a little cutter down and away. And somehow, as soft as that dirt is, you don't see that very often. A ball that is just to the left of Healy, and as much top spin as he got on it, it still bounced high enough to get over his head. But that's why he gets the hits he does. He hits those flares, he hits the choppers. He'll hit the soft ones on the infield where his speed, he beats them out. That's what makes him so difficult to face.
And here's Correa. Now you got to worry about a stolen base. 2 years ago, Altuve had 225 hits, hit 341. Last year, he had 200 hits, and he hit 313. This year, right at 200 hits, and he came in hitting 337. First pitch, a strike to Correa. Couple of good ones right there. Altuve not running, and that one is a strike, 0-2.
And there's a good fastball inside from Hendricks.
Well, there's some of the reasons why Altuve is an MVP candidate all across the board.
Andy's
so 0-2.
Andy's a plus defender. So that, I mean, he's doing that offensively. Plays a great second base.
Yeah, where would the Astros be without him? That's a question you got to ask when you think about that MVP stuff. So 0-2, Altuve inches off. Defense straight away. There he goes. Pitches outside, throw to second base, and they got him. And Correa is called out on the pitch. It's a strike him out, throw him out, double play, and that's how the top of the 8th ends. How about that? So Correa was not happy with the strike 3 call. That looks like a pretty good pitch. Yeah. Good calls all around. So double play to end the 8th. Game summary brought to you by your local Toyota dealers. Another tight one. 1-6-0 for the Astros, 1-2-0 for the Athletics. Musgrove, Manaea, a couple of good young pitchers. Both were good tonight. So not a lot of offense, pretty good pitching. And we'll see who prevails as we head to the bottom of the 8th inning. Jose Altuve picked up his 200th hit for the season, but was thrown out trying to steal. So it'll be Bruce Maxwell hitting for Nunez. Nunez, the designated hitter. So Maxwell's been swinging a hot bat as of late. Trying to get something going. Smolinski will follow, and then the top of the order, Joey Wendell. Davinsky has faced 5 hitters, and he's retired them all with a couple of strikeouts. Maxwell taps this one toward first. So that's out number 1. This is how the top of the 8th ended. And Mark, you may have seen something to talk about.
Yeah, watch Wendell where he puts his left foot. He's short of the bag by about 2-3 feet. And if you remember in the last inning, see how he's not blocking the runner, because you can't do that. You can't impede them. But you can see how Altuve kind of goes in with Wendell in his way. The bag is exposed. You can get to it. But what I thought was interesting last inning when Marwin Gonzalez went in, you saw him kind of say something to Wendell about it. Marwin Gonzalez went in head first. Well, if you got Wendell's shin right there coming into your shoulder, you think about that for a second. You know, that's not, it's something you think about when you go into that bag, not wanting to hurt yourself. And you can see how he's well short of the bag. And maybe you alter your slide because of where he's positioned.
Yeah, I think that, I mean, he's straddling second base, but he's
in front of it.
Yeah, he's almost like toward first base about a foot, and I think that's where maybe his positioning is a little bit different than a lot of. Some guys don't straddle the bag at all, but if you watch, he's kind of straddling the bag, but he's toward first base a little bit. See?
Yeah.
So he really is sort of blocking the base. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. And then he takes that left foot and swings it out of the way as the runner's coming into the bat.
And we saw Altuve kind of talking to the umpire after, and I think he was asking about that because you saw the same thing from Marwin Gonzalez.
And whatever was explained to Altuve, he kind of agreed with and shook his head, and that was it.
2 outs here in the bottom of the 8th. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with what he's doing, but you just don't see guys when they straddle the bag. They usually, literally, the bag is right at their feet, where he's a little bit up.
Yep.
Now you're also, if you're doing that, you're also asking for contact.
For sure. But I think also if with replay, the littlest, let's just say his shin stops somebody's foot or slows that slide down ever so slightly.
Yeah.
That could be the difference when it comes to the replay.
And what if a guy slides into his foot and his foot is a foot in front of the bag?
Yep.
And if he keeps doing it that way, that will happen.
Well, and if he keeps doing it that way, you're also going to see guys maybe slide right into him on purpose.
That's true. That's where the contact.
If you're going to be there, you got to take the contact then.
Joey Wendell hits one in the air. Tony Kemp grabs it, and heck of a performance by Chris Davinsky as he retires all 8 hitters he faced tonight.
A's Baseball on CSN California is brought to you by Toyota, the full-line automaker with the longest-lasting vehicles in America. Toyota, let's go places. And by Xfinity. X1 from Xfinity will change the way you experience TV.
So 1-1 game. We have reached the 9th inning here at the Coliseum. Over 12,000 tonight in attendance. And Hendricks back out there. He pitched the 8th inning. And he'll face Gaddis, Gonzalez, and White here in the 9th. Gaddis 1 for 3 and a base hit in the 7th inning. The Indians beat the Royals in Cleveland tonight 2-1 to drop their magic number down to 6. Sean Doolittle, lefty, starts to throw. So the Indians closing in on division title. Right there on 2-0, 2-1 the count. Yankees beat the Rays 5-3. Another home run for Gary Sanchez, the rookie catcher. He's got 17. Little pop-up toward Valencia, who hustling in, and Valencia stumbled just a little bit, but he hung in there and he made the catch. So that's out number 1.
Valencia, I don't think quite saw it.
Now batting.
You can see he kind of pops up, kind of smiling at himself. Wide-eyed.
So had it all the way.
Yeah.
So with one out, Marwin Gonzalez steps up. Joey Wendell steps to his right. 2 outs.
And here's tonight's Honda Player of the Game. That is Sean Manaea. What an outing. Just like last night with Cotton. 6 innings, 3 hits, no runs. Had a great changeup early in the game and then went to the fastball a little bit later. Hasn't quite gotten the run support from the A's this year against the Astros. He's pitched well, but tonight another solid performance from the big Sean Manaea.
Big fella. So he faces Tyler White. Tyler White tonight has struck out, fouled out, and grounded out. Outside corner with a curveball for a strike. Blue Jays leading the Mariners now 9-2. That game in the 6th inning. Big series up there, and the Mariners lost last night and losing big tonight. For the Mariners, this was their opportunity series, and they have not taken advantage. 1-2 now. Big swing by Tyler White. He's trying to give the Astros the lead.
Well, you can try and give your team the lead, but with that kind of an uppercut, I'm not so sure
that was
you're going to be making contact.
That was a good one. Close pitch, 2-2. Giles is warming up. Strike 3 called, and that will do it. So a nice job by Liam Hendriks. 2 good innings, and the bottom of the 9th is coming up. Simeon, Vogt, and Valencia. Hayes will try to walk it off. So bottom of the 9th. A's with just 2 hits. They only had 3 hits last night, but a chance to win it. And the Astros going with the hot hand, leaving Chris Davinsky in there. He has faced 8 hitters. He's retired them all with 2 strikeouts. Facing Marcus Semien. Marcus Semien has grounded out twice, once into a double play. And then in the 6th inning, he walked. He was the final hitter that Musgrove faced.
Well, this is a spot for Semien. Just find a way to try to get on base. Get on base. Let's see if you can make something happen.
And now 2-2.
There's that good slider that we've seen from Davinsky.
Kind of jumps off the mound. Remember, Greg Holland, the Royals closer, kind of did the same thing where they finish almost like they're walking toward the first base dugout.
Yep. They're stepping towards, basically almost seems as though he's stepping towards their on deck circle, towards the left-handed batter's box.
Three-two pitch, and he went with that off-speed pitch, and he strikes out Marcus Semien.
Well, I think Semien like to have this one back. This ball's up. This one's hanging. And Semien seemed to swing just underneath it. And a little out in front. But like we talked about, there's deception. It's not that easy just because it's spinning and hanging. Doesn't mean it's any easier to hit.
Vogt takes curveball that snaps in there for a strike.
And that's a slider that has almost a split action to it. It's going straight down.
And Vogt went after it, and he grounds it to Altuve. 2 outs. And so it's up to Danny Valencia.
Now batting right fielder, number 26.
Doolittle in the A's bullpen.
Valencia.
Valencia tonight has struck out. He has grounded to second. He has grounded to third. First pitch down and away. So just 5 hits total in this series for the Athletics. 13 hits total for the Astros. That one spins Valencia out of the way, almost hit him.
A little fastball in. Valencia looking out over the plate. Not quite ready for that.
And now 3-0. He's trying to get their first base runner against Davinsky. Pumps that one in there for a strike. So Valencia was taken there, but he'll be ready to rip now. Pitch, strike, and Danny Valencia had the armband off and the bat down, and he's going to have to strap it back on.
Well, my first thought was that it was inside, which I think it was. It gives you a little better view of just how far inside it was, which is why Valencia started towards first base.
3-2 pitch, and he chased, and that will do it. So Davinsky faces 10 hitters, retires them all. What a performance by the young right-hander. 10th inning coming up. Valencia has been thrown out of the game after striking on. It was the 3-1 pitch he didn't like. This is the 3-1 pitch where he thought he had ball 4.
Well, and you see Valencia, he kind of takes his time right there, and then now when he comes back, Marty Foster kind of walks towards him here and says something. Well, I'm thinking he says something. Right there, he's talking to him. And I'm sure Valencia's talking to him a little bit, and then he strikes out.
Well, here's my question. Why does Marty Foster walk out in front of home plate? Why not just stay behind home plate where you are the whole game?
Well, and that's what my next point was going to be, is that's the times where the umpires sometimes entice the guys.
No question. There's no reason for Marty Foster to walk out in front of home plate.
Yep.
He's not dusting off home plate. He's not throwing the pitcher new baseball.
Yep.
He's waiting for Danny Valencia.
Yep.
That one is driven right center, and that could be trouble. Muncie's not going to get it. And Kemp is fast, and he hits the bag at second, but he'll stop there. So Tony Kemp trying to be the hero for the Astros as he leads off the 10th inning with a double against Sean Doolittle.
Well, so many times we see Doolittle with just the fastball. He went with the slider here, and perfect fit for Kemp. It's middle in, able to drop the head on it. You can see Muncie gives it chase, but with the speed of Kemp, as quick as he got into second, if Muncie doesn't play that right, Kemp is standing on third. But
I was worried about a triple.
Yeah, he got the carom, got it in, and Kemp's now at second base.
So here's Marisnick. So we'll see what the strategy is for the Astros. Corner infielders come in for the A's. And Marisnick, well, unless he's trying to fool everybody, he just gave away what he's going to do.
Yeah.
When it's time for change, think Speedy Oil Change and Auto Service, your oil change tune-up and repair experts. Bunted toward Doolittle, and Doolittle's going to get the out at first. Oh, Marisnick does his job, gets the sacrifice. So now the go-ahead run is at third with 1 out, and this is a good matchup, Mark, because you have Doolittle, who's a strikeout guy. You have a good hitter in Springer, but Springer is a guy who strikes out a lot. He has struck out 3 times tonight, 168 times this year.
Well, and Springer will chase those high fastballs.
Springer 4th in the league in total strikeouts, and not good in these spots, and one of the reasons is he strikes out. And he chases there, 1-1 the count.
Well, and not only does sometimes you'll see guys that like Gaddis. Okay, Gaddis spreads out. He tries to find a way to put the ball in play. Springer doesn't do that. It's all or nothing. And in these types of situations, you got to find a way to get that guy in from third.
No swing, says Clint Fagner.
Well, watching from up here, it sure did seem like he did go around, and that's awfully close.
So the infield in for the A's, 2-1 the count. And that's a shot under the glove of the diving Joey Wendell. And the Astros take the lead on Springer's base hit that scores Tony Kemp. Now Springer got a pitch that was down a little bit, a little easier to hit, and he hit it very hard.
Doolittle's effectiveness is when he keeps that fastball inside or up, and you can see Vogt reaching back over the plate. He missed middle away, and you're basically giving Springer a chance right there. If you keep that ball in or it's elevated, you might see another swing and a miss, but you get that out over the plate, and he's able to drive it back up the middle.
So Giles is back up now. So Springer gets the big hit that is needed. This one toward right. Muncie into the corner, and Muncy makes the catch. Spins around and gets it back in quickly. So Gurriel flies out. He's 0 for 5. So 2 outs, and here's Jose Altuve.
Number 27, Jose Altuve.
So Giles will pitch the bottom of the 10th, and the A's will have Healy, Alonso, and Eibner. So far in this series, Mark, the Astros absolutely need to win, and they've got those big hits late.
Yep.
So Altuve's retired, but the Astros get the lead on Springer's big hit. So bottom of the 10th coming up. Astros 2, A's 1.
A bird? Is it a plane? No, it's superhero fireworks presented by AAA. These post-game fireworks will be set to some of the best music from superhero movies. Dress as your favorite characters and enjoy the show from the outfield grass as long as space is available. Enjoy an A's game and then superhero fireworks right after. Seize your tickets at athletics.com/fireworks.
All right, so the A's need some action here in the bottom of the 10th. The Astros lead 2-1, trying to make it 2 in a row over the Athletics. And it will be Healy, Alonso, and Eibner against the closer Ken Giles. Giles not an easy at bat. He's got 12 saves on the year. First pitch is a fastball at the knees for a strike. So 2 and 4. Got off to a slow start with the Astros. Just a touch low.
Well, and as we saw it last night, that 98 to 100. Jason Castro now in the game catching.
Giles got the save. Couple of strikeouts last night. Only threw 10 pitches. And the 1-1 pitch off the plate. We've seen the A's chase a lot tonight. Just got to give the pitcher some credit for that.
But each guy tonight has had all 3 guys have had nasty sliders.
Yep. Yeah, how about Chris Davinsky? He's the hero right now for the Astros. He went 3 2/3 innings. No hits, no runs, no walks, 4 strikeouts. And he got him swinging. Healy will take off for first. Castro's throw is in time. And that is the 9th strikeout by Astros pitchers. And I'm looking, Mark, just checking. All 9 have been swinging.
Now batting first baseman, number 17.
And I'd be willing to bet of those 9, a whole bunch of them have been on breaking balls.
Or how many out of the strike zone?
Yeah.
There's the relief pitcher strikeouts. Giles is third. His teammate, Michael Phillies, is fourth.
Who we haven't even seen in either game.
No, not yet. First pitch to Yonder Alonso is a fastball away. Yonder Alonso 0 for 3. The A's have 2 hits in this game. They both came in the 6th inning. And if you remember, they were not necessarily hard hit balls. The A's kind of beat the shift. Joey Wendell bounced one right to where the third baseman usually is, and he was not there. Smolinski's hit was a ground ball through the right side. So 3-0. A's would love a base runner. Brett Eibner. After Eibner, it would be Maxwell. Pitch. He walked him with 1 out. How about that? A's first base runner since the 6th inning. A's have received 4 walks tonight. They just have not been able to do anything with those walks. So Alcantara is going to pinch run for Alonso.
Please, ladies and gentlemen, running for Alonso, number 30, Arismendi Alcantara. Now batting, number 39, Brett Eibner.
So here's Eibner with the speedy Alcantara at first. So that brings up the stolen base opportunity. Closers, we're not saying Giles is in this category, but closers do not always do a great job of holding on runners because they're concentrating so much on the hitter. Sometimes you can take advantage of that.
But as hard as Giles throws, Eibner's got to be looking to go the other way. Altuve way up the middle.
And he does. Slices one to right field. That's a base hit. Springer hustles in and keeps Alcantara at second. So Brett Eibner indeed looked like he was trying to go that way.
And a good job by Eibner. Altuve was playing just to the right of second base. Gonzalez was holding on. Alcantara at first, so a big hole. And just a nice line drive, good swing. A's in business here, first and second.
So here's Bruce Maxwell. He is now the designated hitter. Pinch hit for Nunez in the 8th. First pitch, a strike. Eibner, the runner at first, has pretty good speed. Alcantara has great speed. Correa playing almost up the middle, trying to keep Alcantara close. And that one runs outside. Missed the target, did Giles.
And last night, this was Maxwell hitting his first home run, a hanging breaking ball. Got it up in the air to left center and drove it out. I'd like to see another one of those right here.
Maxwell had a good rip, 99 miles an hour.
This is basically, here it is, hit it. And Giles, when you can hit 100 miles an hour, you can do those sorts of things. And you can see Maxwell just a little late.
So now Maxwell behind in the count, 1-2. Down and in, 2-2. There's Smith warming up in the A's bullpen. As you see, the Astros bullpen, nothing. Two pitch inside, and now 3-2, 99 miles an hour.
Giles, not quite the same command that he had last night.
Smolinski will be next. And he laid off, and it's low. Will they check? Yes. No swing. Bases loaded and 1 out. So a very close pitch.
It's 100 miles an hour down in the strike zone, and Maxwell able to hold up.
Just enough.
That's tough.
So the hitter is Smolinski with the bases loaded, 1 out. A's down by a run here in the 10th. So 2 walks. In between the 2 walks, Eibner's base hit. So we'll see what the Astros do, Mark. Play back, play in, play for the double play.
I think lots of times here, the corners, generally you're in. Middle infielders maybe be halfway. Hard hit ball. You can try to turn 2.
Well, the middle infielders will play back. Corner infielders in. First pitch to Smolinski is hooked down the left field line. It is foul. Would have been a game winner. And Smolinski just out in front.
Smolinski just gets, it actually got inside on him. It was a breaking ball that he was out in front of and hooks it down the line, and by about, well, 2-3 feet.
So the count 0-1. Smolinski steps back in. He's 1 for 3. Singled and scored in the 6th. He got the first hit of the night for the A's. Fouls it back. High fastball. That's a tough pitch to get to there.
Now you just got to battle. You got to fight off that breaking ball. Then you also got to try and catch up to 100.
Oh, 2. Just a bit outside. That's a pretty good 0-2 pitch by Giles. A teaser.
Well, like you said, that's a perfect 0-2 pitch. Just off the plate, you try to get someone to chase. You have to think he'd want to go back to that slider. Oh, fastball.
And it was a slider, and it hung. And that was a decent pitch to hit for Smolinski.
Well, he got the hanger he wanted. Just underneath it. Not the location Giles was hoping for, and he got lucky.
Now Contra at third, Eibner at second, Maxwell at first. One-two pitch is a fastball low. Giles needed just 10 pitches last night. He's already at 20 tonight. He only has 1 out. Outfield is very shallow. Here are the middle infielders. They're looking for a double play. 2-2 pitch. Popped up. Altuve is going to grab it, and that's the second out, and he stayed with that slider.
That was a much better one, located down and away. Smolinski just out in front.
Good pitch.
Yeah,
I think it would have been a strike if he doesn't swing at it.
Yep.
Second baseman, number 52,
Trying to stay back.
Joey
When you got 99 in the back of your mind,
Yeah,
it's
that's
tough
not
to do.
easy. This is not an easy at bat. Ken Giles. So Joey Wendell will try to win it. He is 1 for 3. A single, and he's got a walk. Now Contra the tying run at third. Eibner the winning run at second. Outfield shifted toward left center, shallow for Wendell. First pitch, swing and a miss. So Wendell will go for a little walk.
Well, the downward tilt on that slider. You can see the bottom just drops out of it. Wendell over the top.
So 0-1 the count. Oh, 2, and he just got a piece of it. Just got it. So now Joey Wendell has his hands full. He's behind in the count 0-2. Jason Castro has his hands full with the slider in the dirt. Keep an eye on that. Castro pretty good at blocking balls. Oh, 2 pitch, here it is. And it's tapped out in front, but a foul ball. Castro grabbed it, but it was in foul territory.
Wendell just trying to make contact. Another slider that was up. The ball just goes straight down. Luckily, didn't go out into fair territory.
So the count remains 0-2. 24 pitches in this inning for Ken Giles. Slider down and in.
And I like that on that slider. Wendell didn't give any ground. He didn't even try to get out of the way of it. If it catches you just a little bit, find a way to get on base, get that run in, take one for the team.
See what he throws on 1-2. And he got him swinging with that slider in the dirt, and the Astros escape the jam here in the bottom of the 10th, and they hang on and win it tonight in extra innings over the Athletics. So the Astros have taken the first 2 games of this series. Time of game was 3 hours and 1 minute. 12,139 was the attendance in 10 innings. Final score, the Astros 2 and the A's won. You've been watching Oakland A's baseball on CSN California, part of the NBC Sports Group. Don't go away. A's postgame live with Henry Wolford and Shooty Babbitt starts right now.